that we haven't heard before. Hi, Jeff. My name's Ian Bagg. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everything up in the Great White North? You're up there.
I'm wearing the Sharples equipment hat because I'm in
Yeah,
the right area.
that's right.
Um, the weather is amazing. It's just nice and sunny. Going to rain on Thursday. That's when it takes a turn. That's when we start doing indoor stuff. But right now we're doing all outdoor stuff.
That's right. Hey, everybody's like, it's been a dry summer. We need to water the lawns. Well, the lawns are about to start getting watered from the middle of September till about the end of April. So
Uh, I actually said I was watching. There's a bunch of forest fires around the province, and I said to my parents, I said, "Well, maybe we should have some sort of plan for you guys to get away from here, just in case there's ever fires here, because a bunch of people were being evacuated in other towns." And my dad said, "This place ain't gonna goddamn burn. It's too wet here."
their mom was getting all fired up when it was hot there a couple of weeks ago. It's 30 Celsius, son. That's just way too hot up here. And I'm
Oh,
like,
there's a
that's
town meeting when it gets that hot. We're too
yeah.
close to the sun. Everybody's got to push away.
How's the Skeena? How's the Skeena looking? Is it when you came into town?
Hello
We
is
have to
looking
put a
like
picture of the Skeena River up there. I'll send one. I just love it. I'll send one of. We'll put it up above, somewhere right above there or over there, and you're going to
somewhere.
see it. We'll be right above Ian's head. We'll put a picture of the Skeena River, and this will be from the spring.
Uh,
But how's it looking?
it looks a little. I thought it looked a little low, but apparently it's a normal. It's a normal height right now. We're gonna head out towards Prince Rupert today and get more looks at it. But yeah, the color of it, that green that it turned.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah, it's looking like that
little
right
bit of coho fishing up there right now, whereas in the States called
now.
silvers.
Coho's
But
way better.
hey, so are you going to go down and get some fish and chips in Rupert, or what's going to happen there?
Gonna try to get the old pops to go all the way down there. But do you remember where the highways department had a camp halfway between Prince Rupert?
Yeah,
Apparently there's a restaurant there now, so we might stop there and go for a bite there.
right on, right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, how was Vancouver before we kick off into getting into this week?
And
How's
this week,
Vancouver?
Vancouver's fun. It was a lot of fun seeing Trevor Henry came out and he told some stories about skating with Gordie Howe after practice. And we got to get Trevor on and talk about that. It was fantastic. Glenn Anderson came out to the show. I had no idea that he knew who I was, but he came out to the show and had a good time. And of course, we've seen our buddy Corey Hirsch, who has a book coming out very soon that we have to push.
We got Hershey coming out, and you know what I did? I don't know if I faded to black there or not. My apologies. I didn't mean to fade to black, but
I
I
know
just
what
got
you
a
did.
phone call. I got a phone call.
I
'Cause
know you did. You never turned it off. You're
I,
always taking
I
phone
just
calls.
we've only done this 80 sometimes, and I just can't quite figure that out. But
Just to let people know, he tells me we got to be more professional every time, and then that happens.
so I'm in my hotel room in Portland. We're moving the camera, my phone. We're moving it around the room. It's like, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to
No.
work. I'm like, hey, we are what we are. Okay, that's it. But well, Trev's awesome. Hey, and I'll just before we get into this week, I want to touch on those guys. Trevor was, for those of you that don't know, but you're all hockey fans because you're tuned in. Trevor was could score. I said this, I think maybe last year. Trevor could score from the red line or just inside the red line as a 14-year-old with a slap shot. That's what kind of player he was. He was unbelievable. I would say probably the best age group, or one of the top 5 in Canada. When he was 14, 15 years old, goalies were scared to death of him. He could do the old 2-hopper from the red line. It was unbelievable. He'd get over the red line, big slapper, go back to center ice. Glenn Anderson was my roommate when I was in Edmonton for a cup of coffee. Yeah, in LA. Andy was really cool guy. I don't think his pulse gets above about 25 beats a minute. One of the real cool guys around, and of course multiple Stanley Cups. And Hershey snacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corey Hirsch, Vancouver. He's revered in the Couve. He's got a book coming out, so we will try and get him on. The first time we tried to get him on,
He
it
fell
was
apart.
an absolute dumpster fire. But this time, he's pushing something, and I'm going to offer him a big bag of Costco snacks.
Oh,
So
he'll take that.
yeah, he'll like it. But you'll have
I
to
went
come
I
to
went to I went over and seen him. He's living steps from a Costco now. Just to let you know, like within 40 feet of a Costco. It's very impressive.
Oh, so he's right down. Is he's over by what used to be GM? What's it called? Rogers Place now. GM
Rogers Place, yeah.
Rogers Place, right on.
Yeah, it'll be cryptocurrencyarena.com pretty soon.
Yeah, it'll be multitude of names.
Yeah. And before I let that go, I forgot. Also, Bretta Palzer came out. He was there, and also Tony Hildebrand. Tony Hildebrand came out.
Tony, right on.
Yeah.
Tony, right on. Good, good,
And
good.
we talked about him going to when he first started. I think he started in Summerland, and then he worked himself up to the Brandon Wheat Kings. So good story from him. We might have to get him on. He's got WHL big rings in his collection. I don't know what he got him for. I think he may have been player of the week or something or like that. He's got a big ring for it. Anyways,
really, he's got more swag than I do. From
I know. I could tell by your face. You were like, what?
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to tell you about my year in Portland, where I got nothing. So Vancouver was good because the last time you were in Vancouver is a little bit tumultuous, right? You had a little bit of a tumultuous last visit to Vancouver. Other than the thing you did for the alumni, the last time you were in a comedy club. Didn't really work out for everybody in the end, but this week, good crowds and a lot of fun.
Right, yeah. And get this. So I come up last time and I catch COVID, right? I'm trying to figure out if I can go home on Friday because somebody else has to test negative while I'm gone.
That's awesome.
Are you playing that New West club? Somebody's getting COVID. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Anyways, we got a great guest this week.
Oh, this guy. I mean, we should have had him actually do the intro.
Right.
We should have him do the intro. This guy is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know what do you want to say.
I'm gonna pick his job. I'm gonna give him the wrong job 6 times and probably use the wrong nickname for him 3 times because I'm such an ass. So
yeah.
Well, he'd enjoy that, and he took his turns. He's a guy that will take his turns, and he will carve you. One of the cool things about our guest this week is he is really stabilized, I think, and part of one of the best intermission and pregame shows in the NHL.
Which is huge.
It is huge because he's along the lines of TNT before TNT was TNT, like with Biz and Talkett and Gretz and AC. And of course, they got Henrik the King on there once in a while too. But our guest this week, Daren Millard, or as you like to call him, Millard. People give him a bunch of names. His real name is Daren, 1R, Millard, but Millard, but we call him Mallard. That's his nickname. So I'm like, I don't know, just something with an M on the front probably works good, right. But he's really good. And he does.
I call him Little D because I seen him shower once.
We got to put up the picture of him on his Instagram. I sent it to you. Of him and his Golden Knights with a hockey stick, looking like he's ready to spear your eyes out.
Yeah.
And that was pretty funny. He's got a tough guy look, so we got to put that picture up too.
He's got a tough guy look, but he's a sweet, sweet man.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. He is. He is one of those guys. So
yeah, look forward to Daren Millard. Anything else we want to talk about before we bring him in? Girls, the young ladies winning the world championships in Edmonton a couple weeks ago was pretty impressive.
It was. The Canadian girls keep on keeping on. I thought we'd talk about it at the end, but we can talk about it a little bit now. One of the cool things,
and we can just cut it out. We can cut it out and just go to the end. It's up to you. We can just say, hey.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's still listening, we might as well just keep going. But I think one of the coolest things, and we've talked about this many times, but two of the biggest rivalries that I will always sit down and enjoy more than anything is Canada-US women's hockey. Canada-US men's hockey is always good too. And the Canada-US women's soccer, because they go at it. And it's fun to see them
Like they're just so greasy with each other.
Yeah.
And you think guys are dirty on the ice. The girls are way dirtier on the ice than the guys are, because the guys, like, there's only so many tricks of the trade that they got left, right? And everybody's kind of seen it. But the girls, you don't expect it sometimes. Jab in the back of the knee or a spear or something. You're like, oh, that was kind of nasty. So the intensity is always awesome. So good for Canada. The States, they got to do something. Because Canada and US always kind of seem to end up with each other in the finals of these, especially hockey. But hopefully the other nations can kind of keep trending up and start to give it a little bit more.
You know what's funny about that? Everybody says that until suddenly Canada or the US isn't in the finals, and then everybody's, what the hell? Come on.
Yeah, they're all sour. But you know what? I pull for both countries, so I like to see it. But I'd love to see somebody else come up and maybe just sneak in front of one of those two teams and get a little bit more notoriety, I guess is the word. So
when does it's good for them? I want to talk about, because we're moving into right now. It's almost time for training camps to start. When does the season? Another call.
Sorry. You know what? I got it on airplane mode too. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm like Journey. Or Steve Perry. The girl can't help it. So sorry.
Somebody's been listening to Yacht Rock.
Hey, and for those of you out there that are Yacht Rock fans, it's moved from Channel 14, I think, to Channel 311 on Sirius. And yes, I will listen to Christopher Cross and Michael McDonald year round. I will do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, anyways, what I was trying to say is the season's about to start, so everybody's headed to training camp. Do you think guys are trying to get in their last moments at home before they go, or are they already there?
Maybe the guys that played into the Final Four, the finals, I think Colorado's probably, this is something they want to get back, and probably can't get the season started fast enough again. I think Tampa Bay is probably similar. I think those two teams that finished the last, especially Tampa, wants to get back and show everybody, and Colorado just wants to keep showing everybody how good they are. I think it's good for teams like Calgary's probably excited. They had a pretty tumultuous summer as far as it was the best of times and worst of times, and all of a sudden Calgary looks like this juggernaut. Edmonton's got to be excited. And then you look at teams like the Rangers got to be excited about what's going on there. Boston's got some big changes. Vegas, you got to flip the coin. What's going to happen this year in Vegas? I like Bruce Cassidy. I think he'll do a great job. Florida with Paul Maurice. So there's a lot of great stories out there. So I would say most of the guys, talking to our friends, our good friends, that coach around the league, they're all back. They've been gone for at least 2 weeks.
The coaches are back. None of them were able to come out and see me this time on isn't back.
No, they're all gone, and you know what? They're ready to go. And talking to Hoods, took Hoods to the airport actually a couple of weeks ago, so he could go out and start his job with.
Have a good hug. Did you guys have a good hug at the airport?
Okay. Yeah, we did.
Show him well when you're on the island. I love you.
I had a better hug with Shelly than Doug, but I gave Doug a really good hug. And but those guys were ready to go. Went out for a dinner with them, and you could just tell, when you get into September, I can speak to this. It's been a long time since I had to worry about it. But when you get in September and you're a hockey player or a coach, you just starting to get your mind's starting to go, and you might as well get to where you're going and get started. So the rookies are in this week. And they're having their games. Like Vegas is in San Jose with San Jose, I think Arizona and Anaheim and LA.
Kind of in that tournament that we went to, right?
Yeah, the tournament that we scouted, a kid that never played one game, but we gave it our best. Yeah, we tried to help. But so the rookies are in this week. The camps start next week, and then we're off to the races. October 10th, I think, is the drop of the puck.
Nice. October 10th. We need to do an episode where we just have people come on and pick their winner. We'll just have a bunch of friends, just have a clip of people who's going to win this year. We'll do it. And then also we got to figure out, if you're listening to the show or watching the show, send us an email to ian@ianbag.com. We got to come up with some sort of I'm blanking on the word, a pool where we we play against each other. Either one of those. I don't know. We got to figure out a pool that way. Just have
Okay.
enjoying orange slices pool. Put a little dollar in there and see if anybody can win $50 by the end of the year. Idea?
Well,
I
you
don't
know
know if
what?
this is legal for us to say, but we're doing it.
You don't happen to be going for a drive or anything today where you have time to think about something like this, do you?
Maybe.
All right. I think Millard is ready to go.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Doug Millard.
Today's guest is Daren Millard, not Millard. Daren Millard. He comes to us from the basement of the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he is the voice of the Vegas Golden Knights. Welcome, Daren.
Good to be with you. Did you just screw up my nickname too? Like, did you just
Yeah,
say Millard and Millard is like the same thing?
I did.
Yeah.
Actually, I prefer if you didn't make fun of my accent as we start off right away.
Well, I'm just trying.
It's Mallard.
I haven't said sorry yet.
Right.
You can make fun of me later.
I said Mallard and Millard, and it's actually Mallard. What a
I think we're off to a great start here.
I know. You want to go Mallard hunting?
Ken Dryden's going to be really upset. He now knows where his mask is.
Are those all real masks behind you?
Well, they're real, but they're replicas of the real ones. But they're real.
No, they're fake.
So they're real masks, but they're like the Wayne Stevenson one is a replica, and that one, and John Garrett, and
because they cost you a big time bunch of money.
I'm way too cheap to buy the true actual ones.
Are those your favorite goalies behind you, or how did you
some of my favorite masks? I like Ken. Love Wayne Stevenson. He was never the best Flyers goalie. We obviously, and John Garrett is just above him, right there. He's a buddy of mine, so I like his mask. And Bob Essenza is over here. I loved him with Winnipeg. And then the rest of them are kind of masks that I would wear.
Where's Flats's mask? Where's Wade Flaherty's mask?
You know what? He had a great mask. That's right. I should get one made of him. He would be very upset that he's not represented over here.
No, especially
get you the real mask.
It's probably in his garage right now. We'll give him a call, but
it's probably been repainted 7 times too.
Yeah. Well,
probably being used in terrace by
they're playing street hockey this afternoon. Someone's wearing Flats's mask, but so a lot of people don't know Mallard. See, so that Ian got kind of off on the wrong foot there because his accent got in the way. But
what accent is that? Is that Croatian?
No, that's School District 88.
Oh, okay.
That's public education, Terrace, British Columbia.
You know what that accent is? That accent is when you grow up in Terrace, your mom's from Australia, and then you move to America. Okay. Everybody thinks you're Irish. That's great.
Nice. So it allowed you to drink early.
Oh, yeah. 5 years old. Hammered.
Oh, you could have moved to Brandon, too.
Is that where you grew up, as Brandon?
Yeah.
Why were you?
Why did I grow up there? Because my parents lived there.
Yeah, but why were they there? What were their businesses?
Mom was.
Take it down.
Mom was a retailer / and then we got into the banking business. And my dad was a psych nurse.
Really,
in Brandon? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, he must have been busy. That is a.
He was busy. But back in the day, you could he would go out on day trips and stuff, and the patients would stop by, and we didn't know any better, and we'd hang out, and we get to play floor hockey at the hospital every now and then up at what they called the Brandon Mental Health Center, and we would get up there, and then we go for a pop and hang out with the patients in line and stuff. It was interesting. Let's just say that.
Great.
One day I ran into one of my teachers up there.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
And that was different.
Was it like, please don't talk about this? Or was it like, there's a reason you're failing?
No, he didn't even acknowledge me, but I knew that I was pretty much good for the rest of the year.
So good. That is
awesome.
So good.
I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that, but oh well. He's retired now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's on his pension. Hey, so a lot of people, they might not know because we have about 4 people watch the video of this, but 12 others listen to us. So behind Mallard's, behind him is all the goalie masks. So you're a goalie, and we're not going to hold that against you. But what did you start off like minor hockey? Is that what you wanted to be the whole time? Because that's a shrine you have over your left and right shoulder. I mean, every goalie in the league should be paying homage to you because you're holding up your end of the deal really well.
I was a goalie from 7 years old. The coach put up my hand, or the coach said, "Who wants to be a goalie?" And I put up my hand, and my dad put it down, and so I put up the other hand. And he was too far away from me, so I got to be the goalie, and I stayed being goaltender. And my brother and I, my twin brother and I, would shoot on each other all the time, playing road hockey with the Pink brothers from the street over, and it was great. And
was it like every parent's worst nightmare because of the cost? Is that why?
Yeah, because we weren't very well off, so I had to do a paper route from probably 10 years old up to pay for half my equipment, which I understand. It was crazy expensive if you ever wanted anything new.
Was it also the same as where we grew up below Pee-wees? The minor hockey owned the equipment?
Yes.
Yeah, which I think is great.
Yeah, and but except for when there was a big sweaty kid a year older than you, and you would always get that gear. Oh. That made it bad. I'm just happy that the jock wasn't the most expensive piece of equipment because I always made sure I had that.
Your kids are more happy about that.
Yeah.
Knock the tails off you if you know what I'm talking about.
But so you played Brandon minor hockey.
Yeah.
And okay, so you have a twin brother who's I believe in Edmonton right now?
He's in Reston, Manitoba. I
have
a younger brother in Edmonton, but my twin brother's in Reston, Manitoba in the military.
Oh, yeah. He's the good
right
one.
On. Yeah.
Yeah, he had kids very young, so it was a different entry into his career. He had a kid, and then he went, "What the hell am I going to do?" And they went in the military and ended up working.
At what point did you decide that you're going to switch over to calling the games and not chasing your dream?
Oh, when I got cut, like for the 6th time, that was about it. I got cut into the year in Dauphin, and then the next year I got cut around Thanksgiving in Dauphin, playing Tier 2, and they traded my rights to Weyburn. I didn't even get into a game there. They just let me practice, and they cut me, and then I was done after that. And I think I went to a practice in Portage, and then I just wasn't very good.
So people need to understand Dauphin, Manitoba, Weyburn, Saskatchewan, and Portage La Prairie. Like these aren't thriving metropolises. These are just good, hardworking, mostly farming towns, right? On the prairies of Canada. So when so Ian, I'm going to ask this question. I know we talk about it every show. We're going to ask Daren this question right now about, did you ever find yourself like calling the play-by-play of the games while you were actually playing or while you were on the bench?
Oh, totally. Well, I was playing a lot. I would do it. Yeah, absolutely. And I would watch the highlights every single night at 6:00 on my local sports cast. I would read the stats every Tuesday. They used to come out in the newspaper every Tuesday, so everybody's paper was delayed getting delivered that week because I would read all the scoring stats and the goalie stats and etc. But yeah, I would call games to myself, like Trevor over to Brooksy, and I would use their nicknames, Richard, Denny, and Jonesy, and yeah, I would do all that. Robbie Houston was I'd use his name because he would score a lot, or Graham Gard, I would use his full name. Those guys will love it.
Yeah. They just got tagged. They're like,
they did. They totally got tagged.
Yeah. So we just heard about your hockey, how you playing hockey. How do you start with calling the games? Where does it go?
When I started, I was in news in a place called Melfort, Saskatchewan. It was my first ever media job. That home of the Melfort Mustangs. And we covered 3 teams around there: the Humboldt Broncos, which everybody knows do the tragedy, and Nipawin Hawks and the Melfort Mustangs. So I would go there. I went there as an intern, and my roommates one roommate was the sports guy. And so I helped him out a little bit there and got into calling games. My first ever time on the air, my dad drops me off on a Sunday, and my roommate's got a game, Nipawin Hawks against the Flin Flon Bombers. There's some old names for you. And she says, "You're a hockey guy. Come and do color for me tonight." So we drive to Nipawin, and there's no pregame show. he just starts off welcome and into the play. And the first time I talk, guys, I say he gets the, but I don't say puck out of the corner. He gets the out of the corner. But you can imagine what I said.
Yeah. People are what's going on in the corner? Because he got out of there quick.
Because he got out of there really quick. So I stop, and my play-by-play guy, he just falls onto the table laughing, and then I said puck like 20 times after that. So like the third word I ever said in my broadcasting career was profanity.
Oh, that's
it was not a good start. I lowered the bar dramatically, but then I went into Brandon and worked with Darren Dreger there, and started doing color for weekend games. He did play-by-play, and then got into sports full time and did baseball and hockey and curling. We did play-by-play of curling there, so lots of stuff there.
Hey, did you?
Sorry.
Hey,
you guys
how did you
rehearsed this?
Yeah.
Can you guys go back and rehearse this?
No.
Sorry. Well, I want to know. You said the F word, but did you ever say here a lot of single mothers out to see the Milfords tonight? Here come the Milford Mill.
I was thinking if my dad had a cell phone, I would have called him and say, "Can you get back here?" He was halfway home. Can you come and pick me up? But there back then there was operators when you did the game, like somebody back at the station to play the commercials.
Yeah.
So we went to commercial, and the operator comes on and says, Bob, and Bob goes, yeah. Did the new guy just say fuck on the air? Yes, he did. Okay. And there was no like, oh, my panic or anything. It's just, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. That's the way. I think that's the way it should be. Nobody should lose their mind over something that's said like that. It should be, if it was every second word, if he was getting the puck out of the corner every second word, he's getting the puck out again. He's getting the puck out again. Then there's trouble.
The guy didn't even score. That's the worst part. Like, at least if I would have said it and he would have done something with it.
What a lazy motherfucker.
Imagine if I would have had the Sedins, I would have been great, because they never got the puck out of the corner.
Oh man.
They just cycled it around there.
Well, how old were you when you started?
20, how old were you 20, yeah.
21. Okay, so you're more known, and you know how much this is going to pay me to say it, but you do such a great job here in Vegas. You've really added, like, the show's really grown. How much more do you enjoy being a host versus play-by-play? Did you do a ton of play-by-play?
Did a bit.
Color? Yeah.
Did a bit, Sharps. Done color, probably more. I'm not a very good play-by-play guy. I love it. I love doing it. And I've enjoyed to the OHL level and done some junior. I'm not great at it. And I enjoy hosting and telling stories and filling that role of the broadcast more so than calling the action. I've done Olympics. I'd much rather be on the desk than calling any type of sport. It's just you find out what you're good at, and you tend to gravitate towards that because you probably enjoy it a little bit more. I mean, if Dave Gosher went down, would I slide in there just to make Shane Natty's life hell? Absolutely. But it wouldn't be to do the play-by-play. It'd be more to make Shane Natty's day atrociously hard to live with.
Sounds like you might cross-check him and get him out of there.
I wouldn't cross-check him. He's bigger than me.
Yeah.
So I have to go with the mental angle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you learn that from your father?
Yeah. Well done. Well done. Jay, you are listening.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sign of a good interviewer.
Oh, thanks. Just because I can't say Millard and Mallard doesn't mean I'm not.
It's like, honestly, is that Southern Bolivia that you're using as an accent? Like, what is that?
I prefer if you quit turning this into an immigration trial. Where exactly are you from? There's a lot of mumble going on here. There's a lot of mumble going on.
We're just glad you're here for our last show.
Is this the 82nd show?
Yeah. Well, we couldn't get Busky on this week, so he blew us off for one more week, and people should know Busky's he's in the queue, but Daren said Mallard said he wouldn't come on until Busky came on, but Busky's flying all over North America, so we had
Rod's too busy getting his hair done, so we can't have him today.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys thought you were doing the last show?
From
82?
number one. Yeah.
We couldn't believe we ever got one show done. Never mind. We had to do the first one in audio because my lighting wasn't exactly very good. So
We've done a lot with your set since then.
I know. Do you like this?
Yeah.
You know, it's British Columbia in the background. I was like, you never forget where you come from. That's what we say on the show. So
except your head's like all over the interior.
His head's like a weather front coming through. It's Hurricane Jeff.
Okay, so let me get this straight
right now.
I'm getting chirped by a goalie and a comedian. I can understand the one side of it. Oh,
you hated goalies when you played, didn't you?
No, well, my best friend growing up was a goalie, so I mean, you know, flats, right? So when we grew up together, we always got along because I was always the guy in front of him, making sure he never got any shots. But and then he went on to be he went on to be pretty good at stopping a lot of shots, and so now he's still going to Winnipeg. So yeah, I actually have an affinity for goalies. We've had one goalie, Hershey, sit on my couch for about 7 years there for a while. So I actually like you guys. Yeah.
Hershey comes in for 2 hours, and then in 6.5 years, you're like, I want to throw the couch out. Do I have to throw you out with it?
Well, we went golfing. It was 109 that day. And he gets in and he wasn't going to stay. And then he's like, well, let's go golfing. So we went out and played golf. And we've got a special spot on the couch for him where I put a big bowl of chips when he comes to town. So he's
I
happy.
wish he'd just lean right in right now. It'd be great if he just leaned in. Hey, what you guys doing?
Hey, can I get some more Chex Mix? Do you mind?
Hey Jeff, we're out of milk.
He used to come in the door
today. Can you want to go golfing?
Yeah, I'd love to actually. You know, just once.
We got a deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going. The problem is right now it's 108 and there's not a hint of wind around, right? So that's absolutely oppressive heat. But we're going to go from 108 to a hurricane in 3 days. So that's going to be something new. Yeah, we're supposed to get a bunch of rain down here. Ian's getting flooded out down there in Long Beach. So
yeah, I'll be living inland after the big water comes.
Do you go surfing in big storms?
No, I don't even go surfing in no storms. I'm horrible at it. I'm one of those guys that I like to drag the bottom of the ocean when I surf.
Oh, good.
I thought I was gonna do it. Yeah,
this is the time. I felt really good on my belly.
There's animals down there.
Big ones too, with teeth.
And we have a little bit of we got some sharks out front this summer. So, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we got some floating around, and every so often.
My biggest fear.
Really?
Yeah. Number one fear.
I get excited every day because I look out front and it's usually dolphins. I'm like, oh look, they don't come in pods. That's a dolphin. Sharks don't come in pods.
No, those are the storage things that you put stuff in.
They're moving into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just drop their stuff off at the side of the beach. We'll be back later.
Drop the truck.
Yeah.
You're not allowed overnight parking here.
What do you have you been with the Vegas Golden Knights since the beginning of their inception?
No, thanks for reading the bio.
Yep.
But you're supposed to ask questions, you son of a bitch.
I came in at the start of year 3, which was great. I came. What was that? I missed
the decline.
Yeah.
Year 1 was the great stuff. I actually did the expansion draft though. Before I ever knew I was going to work here, I hosted the expansion draft at the NHL Awards in Vegas, which I always considered that to be a sign that it was meant to be. Mm-hmm. And then it came the start of year 3, and that was COVID in March, and then chaos. So last year was sort of the first almost semi-normal year that I've had here, and looking forward to this year. So I'm going on my 4th year is the short answer.
And is it different than anything you've ever been involved in?
Yeah, because you're only covering one team,
right?
Like there's that part is bizarre. When I tried to get my head around taking over the job, was okay, I really only talk about this team. What am I going to say in game 13? Never mind game 71 and game 82 and the playoffs. But it's been really enjoyable, and you find ways to attack it and different ways to tell stories, and you're only speaking really in large part to one audience. So you don't have to spend a ton of time other than the stars of the other team. You don't have to tackle that side of it. But I've enjoyed it. My wife worked for the Toronto Maple Leafs for 15 years back when I was at Sportsnet.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we met, and we always talked about me working for a team at some point, and we weren't sure that it would ever happen. And I've enjoyed it. It's the most fun I've ever had in my career, and that goes to Olympics, to Stanley Cup Finals, everything. It's the most fun with a team atmosphere with Shane and Dave and Ashley and Gary and Darren Elliott. It's awesome. I love it.
And I said at the beginning voice, but you're more the face, right?
Yeah, I do the pre-game show, the intermissions, and the post-game show.
But that would be you. Like for some reason, I just expected you to be. It was more the voice kind of, but it's the face. You're the face of the team, and then it goes down from you.
Yes, I would consider myself the pillar of the organization. Really,
yeah. I actually
the top. He's the the light on top of the Luxor.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's him.
Yeah,
that's him. Yeah.
People like Sharps ask me to turn it off when they fly over, and I dim it for him, and then I go back up.
And then he lands at the wrong airport.
Oh, don't say that.
That's never happened, has it?
No.
I'm taking all their careers.
Hey, you got to knock out. Don't be jinxing me, Lord.
They all kind of look the same from 20,000 feet, don't they?
Well, there's some airports out there. Spokane's one of them, where when you come from Seattle, if you're not paying attention, and it happened years ago to some crews. At Fairchild Air Force Base is right off the nose, so they'll be like, "Hey, you got the field site?" And everyone say, "Yeah." And they've had more than one airplane head towards Fairchild, because Spokane is just off a little bit more to the east. I'm trying to think of another field like that, but Spokane is one. So, you just got to pay attention. But if you're unfamiliar with the area, it could be a little bit of a gotcha. But hey,
Did
I wanted
JB
to
Cooper ever fly with you?
DB?
DB Cooper.
DB,
JB's his brother. JB's his brother.
JB. Actually, I just watched the thing on DB Cooper the other night, and of course that was all done up in the Pacific Northwest. Pretty interesting. If the guy was able to make it happen, he's doing pretty well. I think. I mean, seemed like he was pretty organized at the time. So, but I don't know. I mean, would he be around still? Who knows?
I'm gonna wear that on my next commercial flight. That get up and see if anybody
that
notices.
outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, your next commercial flight.
Yeah.
But with nothing underneath the coat.
Just the sunglasses. What so you came in year 3, so the team, nothing like it's been
Try to get it back on
track. I can talk about aviation or whatever, DB Cooper, all you want, but I know we'll go back into the next ditch a little further. But what about the team? So you got the biggest news in the NHL, this team, probably almost in its history, the Gretzky trade being its own thing because it was an individual. You come in year 3, there's nothing like this building, at least when they're winning, but they didn't win as much last year. And expectation is way above what reality was with this team last year with injuries and everything else. How do you kind of keep it? I'm not talking about your marriage here. I'm just saying, how do you keep it fresh for everybody?
Well, I tackle the same thing with the marriage. I find reasonable excuses, and I really ride those out. And last year was injury, and I talked about it all the time. And my marriage is the same thing.
You had a bad hip for quite a couple of years.
Yeah. But last year it was who's in the lineup all the time, and it wasn't like they had a bad year, Sharps. Like you've had teams where, not you particular, but there's been teams that have really stumbled from a non-performance standpoint, and it gets really negative. I was lucky last year in the sense that we could talk about what was happening throughout the season, and without being overly critical, because it was injuries and there's not much you can do about that. And what the counter part of that was, or follow up was, what are they going to do? Who's going to play tonight? And that side of it. So we, in a weird way, from a broadcasting standpoint, we were fortunate because it was just injuries. It wasn't pure poor performance.
Right, because you have new players coming in every night that you can talk
Every
about.
night. And you got to introduce them.
Yeah.
Because people don't know who the heck they are in some cases.
You have automatic stories built for you. Yeah.
But I have to work harder, though, because I have to figure out, get their stories and then pass it along. So you guys should feel sorry for me, because I had to work really hard last year. Yeah.
What do you see coming up this year for the Vegas Golden Knights and with the new coach? Do you do something that introduces him to the world at the beginning of the season? How do you do it?
Well, we've got a couple of features in the works for this year with Butch, and we're going to tell his story from his Boston days, also his playing days. He was a defenseman back in the day. You like that one, Sharples. The idea, though, is his track record and what he's going to bring, and he's an intense guy. So we'll dive into that part of it. And then there's how does this roster respond after making some changes over the year without Pacioretty? They still have one of the, I think, top 3 blue lines in the league with a collection of talent. So how do they lean on that more? How do they use that to their advantage? Will there be less scoring? And then the goaltending will be a focal point through the first 10 games until we kind of get a sign of which direction that's going to be.
Right.
So I would agree with that. I think that, there's a couple things that Bruce Cassidy Butchie brings. Number one, he's been in the Eastern Conference where it's just a slugfest just about every night. And defense, the Bruins have made the playoffs, 16 years in a row. So they made the playoffs every year he was there. So I think he won't know the Pacific all that well, but he will know what he wants to institute, kind of the Bruins way of defending and the Bruins system. And he's definitely going to be a different voice than what Coach Gallant was and Coach DeBoer, a little bit more intense. And the question is how's that those 6 defensemen or 7 defensemen hold up? Because the goaltending is going to need some help, and the offense might need a little bit of time to get going. So, I really like him as a coach. I think he, I did play against him way back, and we were talking. I played against him way back in the day, but
Which league?
IHL. We played against each other in the International Hockey League. Yeah. And then he coached. He was telling me a story. He coached. They had to win 3 in a row. He was in Indianapolis to get in the playoffs. And I think they came up and they either played San Diego or Long Beach, us in Vegas when I was here, and then Utah. And they had to win all 3 games. They won all 3 games and they got in the playoffs. But I mean, he had said he hadn't spent a lot of time out here. So it's going to be a little bit of, people are going to have to kind of give him a little bit of rope here to kind of figure out, his surroundings as well. But I do think the Knights will be pretty tenacious defensively. And, the goaltending situation, who's going to score is going to be kind of the big questions.
Yeah. And their division, I think is an aid in the sense Edmonton, Calgary, sure. Los Angeles took a big step last year, but other than that, like, what is Vancouver? What is Seattle was in the playoffs last year? Anaheim, San Jose. So I think the route is definitely there to make the playoffs, and there's not that panic right from day number one as everything settles in with new coach and goaltending and so forth. And Jack Eichel, I think, is going to be awesome this year. I think he's set up to be really the guy that everybody's expected to see the last number of years.
Hey, so one other question I have, and people might not know this, we talked about you being a goalie earlier, but no Golden Knights goaltender has stopped more pucks in the last year or faced more than you have, right? Because you're the guy that goes in. Maybe just tell everybody what you do when they don't, like Logan Thompson was out of town, Brossois hurt, Leonard's hurt. So when they need to shoot on someone, who do they call?
I get to go out and skate with them and take some shots. Or if the goalie doesn't want to take the morning skate on game day, I'll go out and take the morning skate. If somebody's nicked up and they don't want to practice or I can't practice, I'll practice. So I probably get in one skate every 10 days or so with the team during the regular season when our e-bug isn't around. And
You're not the e-bug.
summer, I'm not the e-bug because I can't go in during a game. I don't get called down if somebody gets hurt during a game. I'm not going in. I don't want anything to do with that because my perch is so comfortable with popcorn, snacks, and things like that up there. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to leave Gary Lawless up there because he'll mess everything up. But I don't want anything to do with the e-bug. But I love skating. Even at this point in my life, I love going on the ice. I know enough. I always tell coaches, I know enough not to get hurt, but I'll still boost your players' confidence.
Who on the nights? I mean, they must love it when you come out because they just want to shoot an empty net. I guess on the nights when you're sitting there practicing with them, who shoots? Who do you not want to get hit with the puck in the wrong spot by? I mean, they all can shoot it hard, but
yeah, Eichel for sure.
Eichel.
You know, like the goaltenders hold their sticks and they got the handle.
Yeah.
Nobody hits that handle of a goalie stick more than Eichel. Like he's that dialed in. He's always short side blocker for me. He's all over, and it absolutely zips off that thing. And then you like Pietrangelo, not known for a super hard shot, but he can really hammer it. And Nick Hague has you see him winding up, and you're like, this is. I hope he's shooting low, and I hope it goes in. Because you can definitely feel that thing going through. There's a few guys that can do it, but those three would be the big hitters.
Now that Pietrangelo's gone, we can talk about him, right?
No, that's Pacioretty.
No, Pacioretty, but close.
I'm sorry. Yes, I got Millard and Millard. I mean, Millard. I can't. Pacioretty.
That guy had a shot. I didn't. I told Kelly McCrimmon once, I don't really have to worry about that shot because it doesn't hit me very often.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
that guy, he hits the back of the boards more than anybody I've ever seen.
I was thinking the net, but
no. You watch those games. You get a chance to watch a game. You'll see it. I tell you what.
Well, if I can get tickets,
I know a guy with some tickets. I'll try to get hooked up. Now, us talking like this brings up my next question. The whole face of hockey has changed in the last year with TNT getting the games.
Yeah.
Also, Spitting Chicklets has brought in a little bit of another feel to it, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And have you guys made any sort of change on how you guys are covering the whole thing?
I love the way TNT does their intermissions in the sense of you think back, they never use video during the intermission unless it's like such a crazy play like a Zegras pass out or something. It's just a conversation. There's no like video wallpaper. I love that idea of just getting into a conversation, almost podcasty, the way they present it. So I enjoy that aspect of it greatly. And I think that we can all take something from that. We shouldn't get so reliant on just rolling in video, whether it's from 10 months ago. If we're talking about Chandler Stevenson, I already know Chandler Stevenson. I don't need to see it, but I understand why they do it to change it up and the flow and to make sure that you're offering some kind of stimulation to the audience member. But I like just having a conversation. I really do. And the Chicklets one, like that's their style. I've never been comfortable doing that in front of a microphone. I've always been taught not to do that in front of a microphone with the swearing and so forth. And I just couldn't do it. So I try to. Well, I think they've done a great job for our sport, though.
Absolutely,
like and growing a young audience. They've done what none of us have been able to do, and that's grab that young audience and bring them through.
Do you think they've taken the player to take themselves less seriously? That's I wasn't talking about the swearing. I was talking about I find because I have an idea. For you.
Why don't you tell me about that?
I'm going to tell you about this idea
Okay.
because you have a new coach and you have this great guy coming in who's a Stanley Cup champion, and everybody's always teased them about, right? So you take out Cassidy and you're showing him around, and every time you walk by a restaurant,
I'm writing this down.
Phil just happens to come out of that restaurant, but you never really see him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So and then finally, it just every time, and then finally Cassidy has something to say to him. It's just a fun idea. That's just
a little promo.
Little promo.
Yeah.
Little promo. He's on the Ferris wheel. He's being shown Vegas. He sees Phil come out of a restaurant. He's at the Bellagio. He sees Phil come out of a steakhouse.
You know, you should end with Phil and Butchie having a hot dog at a food truck.
Yeah, just
like finally, like he just kind of gives in and goes, okay, and meets him. You know, they meet up at a food truck and have a hot dog together or something on the strip.
Just an idea.
You guys are going to love Phil. I don't know whether Max, you know Phil very much.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, he is brilliant. I had him in Toronto, or we were in Toronto together. I shouldn't say I had him in Toronto. And he's fun. He's different. He gives you what he thinks, and he's got some bite to him. Like if he doesn't like you, I've watched him have shouting matches with members of the media in the room. Like just go at them, or on the ice with guys. I enjoy. I think Phil's presentation, like if we're all going to be honest, could probably have used some work over the years. Yeah, but he's comfortable in that. He loves fishing. He loves playing cards. Like, why not?
He's the little throwback when you think about it. He's Chris. No, who's that? Who sailing? Take it away.
Christopher Cross.
He's a little Christopher Cross in a Kardashian world.
I could be here until 2029, and I wouldn't have got that. There's no way. You know who he is? He's Bruce Boudreau.
Yes,
that's who he is. He's just comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, but people need to be. And he teaches them that. It doesn't, which is also TNT and a little bit of Chiclets kind of getting, this is who you are, enjoy it. But that's my thing about him enjoying, where he is. I think, and seeing the town.
And our presentation, I think we could do with more free flowing. Now, I'm not the executive producer, so I don't make those rules, but just going with things and bloopers or different segments if they go long, as long as it's not impacting the game. I enjoy that side of it.
Well, wouldn't you say, Millard, that you kind of are more along the line of TNT anyways? And here's a kid that came from Brandon, Manitoba, and we had Randy Hahn on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about this, and he grew up out in Edmonton outside of Whitehorse. But one of the things that the way we were brought into hockey was, it was like, this is the way it is, and you don't deviate.
Right.
Down in the States, TNT's like, they got Charles Barkley coming in, and people are probably sick of hearing it, but entertainment is what they're about. And I find that that's kind of what you're doing more on the desk, is you're more having a conversation, whether you're poking Gary or giving a little shot to Shane, or having a good back and forth with Dave or Eggy, whoever you got on that night, and Daren. But tell me the difference or the people that are listening, the biggest difference between the way hockey is done in Canada versus the way it's now being done in the States. Like, what would you say the biggest difference between the two is?
Great question, because there is a big difference. In Canada, it's the game, and there's not a lot of room for humor or showing personality. And it's starting to sort of slink into it a little bit. But I had a boss one time who I was going to do a show, and it was a more important show at that time of the year. And he told me, you know what, just don't be you. Just go up there and do the job. And he was serious. And because I had a tendency to be goofy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But I had a tendency to throw a little bit of left curves in the States. It's personality driven, and we still talk about the game. But I have a rule or a goal going into a show is once per segment. I want to make somebody laugh. I want to teach them something, and I want to offer some kind of platform to prepare them for the game. Not necessarily teach them, but something to look forward to during the game. And we have 3 segments per pregame show, 2 segments during the intermission, and it's the same thing. What to look forward to during the second period. Make them laugh with some back and forth with Elliot or Ashley or Gary, or teach them something. Like, you wouldn't believe that's a record for shots by a defenseman in a period. Something I have those little 3 little things that I try to lean on, and some of it's personality, some of it's game related, and some of it is a mixture of both. But in Canada, the making them laugh part, once per segment, they'd be like, okay, you did that in the pregame show once, not again for the rest of the night.
It's kind of a cookie cutter, right? Yeah. And I mean, we grew up with, like, I love Cuthbert, and it was, he's calling the game. And when you watch the panel, you know, you had Ron McLean there for a long, long time. They brought BX in, who's got, I like him. I think he brings an edge. I love Elliot. Elliot, I think, is fantastic. Alec Friedman, and he knows everything, but he's very careful on, you know, what he says. And you know, he was on Around the Bag during the pandemic with Ian, and he was awesome. He looked like Jumbo
He's
Joe.
Funny. He's funny.
Yeah. And I said to Ian, and I'd say the same thing to Elliot, is like, I would like to see a little bit more of his personality come out, because I think he's brilliant, and I think his reporting is second to none. And then, you know, you've got Jennifer Botterell's on there once in a while, and others. But I would like to see them kind of expand out the entertainment value a little bit more, at least push the edges of that.
And you can do it without being goofy. And that's the fine line. They don't want to get goofy, but I think just some personality. Like Colby Armstrong is a great example. Colby can talk hockey, but Colby can make you laugh your ass off as well, and tell stories. Colby and Kevin and Jen, I think, are awesome. When Elliot's been on the Chirp podcast, we end up doing what we did a lot at the start today, just riffing back and forth, and we barely get into hockey because we're just having some fun. And I think loosening the reins on him, like, he's got a job to do and break information. He's not on there to be the comedian. No offense. I don't want to encroach on your career. Is it Bagster? Is that the nickname?
It's actually a company I work for.
Oh, sorry.
You can use Bagster, Bagsy, Bagster.
Yeah.
Lord Bag,
Lord Bag.
Mr. Ian.
Baggy, Bag alone.
No I in team, but there's an I in Ian. But Elliot does have some fun, and I like when like he makes fun of the patch on top of his head, which is growing. And we always talk about the reverse cam, and he acknowledges that he's great at having some fun with that stuff.
Well, I think the difference is between Canadian. Oh my goodness, the way the Canadians cover, the way the Americans cover it is the Americans kind of want you to want to be in the room.
Yes.
And the Canadians, you're not allowed in the room, but you can watch us.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. And I always thought it was funny because Canadians, don't we just want to drink beer,
right,
and watch the game and hang out? Instead, we're so formal when it comes to hockey. And in the States, we did one thing one time with Toronto where I love the dressing room cams. And I had this conversation with one of my counterparts. I'm like, I love that. I want to be like, this is so amazing. And he said, you just want to be in that room. I'm like, in the dressing room. I'm like, yeah, but he was a former player. And he's like, no, you don't get in there unless you're a player. So that sums up exactly what you're saying to a T. Is I want to be in there. I want to be just flying the wall or asking questions and doing that kind of stuff. And everybody else is like, nope. There's the velvet rope. You don't get in here.
Right, but there's a reason there's fantasy camps because you know what I mean. Because they let you a little bit into the room.
Have you been to one?
Mostly people come to mind.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been to those tournaments where they have a couple players and stuff like that. And it's fantastic, but they kind of have to make calling the game like that. Yeah, it should be. I'm part of this.
And athletes need to be serious. They do. They're being paid millions of dollars to perform, and we're paying $1,000 to go to games. Right. So I want them to take it serious too. But there's also a way that I think and we're working towards it. It's.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that we're stiff as we were 10 years ago, but I think that there's more to go with that.
Absolutely. The game just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
And whereas I think it was before TNT came to the game and podcasting came to the game.
Yeah.
This is the way it's done.
Yes.
You can't
You don't question
way.
us.
Yeah.
It's always been done this way.
Yeah. But now it's all right. Let's see how it goes. It's evolving.
Like Sharp's flying a plane. Like he doesn't always have to fly at 30,000 feet. He can drop it down to 1,200 as the tower.
Yeah.
And then go back
absolutely.
up. Still some more
I can do
juice
that
at the back.
once. Yeah, I can do that once, and then I'll be in one of your guys' houses, living in your spare bedroom. Well, Ian's already had that, so. But hey,
you'd have to kick my wife out of the spare bedroom.
Jennifer, she's a saint. I can't believe how much you overmarried, but anyways, good for you. I guess
I had multiple second round picks that I packaged up to move up in the draft.
Lottery protected.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
What one thing just to finish up on the dressing room cam and the rest of it, I get where there's a little bit of uneasiness in some of that area, but if you got to provide access if you want to grow the product. And you know what, 20-second, 10-second view of the dressing room, what guys are doing in between periods. Most of them are just sitting there having a drink or getting up to grab a drink. Coach might come in and go, get pucks deep or something kind of bland. He's not going to give them, the TV camera what they want. But the NHL, exactly what you guys are talking about, is slowly taking the shackles off itself. And, if Ian and I talk about this all the time, there's nobody that packages a product better than the NBA on TNT. And a lot of it's because they build it around the inclusiveness and wanting you to be there, not trying to teach you the game. I think that's part of what makes it so appealing.
Here's the weird part about that, though, Sharples, is I find that the game on TNT is almost secondary to the panel, where you have to make sure that the game's still a major part of it. I mean, I'm not a hardcore basketball fan. I am tuning in for the panel, but sometimes I think that the game's like an afterthought.
That's because the last 3 minutes takes 4 hours.
Yeah.
Why is that?
But
I have no idea. Like, it's weird that you can show up in the third quarter and still see most of the game.
Yeah.
Television advertising, right? I mean, it's a 48-minute game. They get it done in about 2:15 to 2:20. What's hockey running right now, Millard? About 2:30?
Yeah.
So, I think and we've talked about this on other podcasts, but one of the things that I think has really been appealing and that will bring in the younger crowd and the younger demographic is you got to speed up pace of play. And, it's like golf. I love watching golf, but the demographics, all, my age and up, because we have, sitting on the couch, we have 4 or 5 hours to sit and watch it. The young crowd doesn't have that, nor do they want to have that. So I think hockey could even cut a few more minutes off.
Unacceptable.
Ask him what he thinks about that podcast name. Ask Millard about that.
That one, I like it. I just wouldn't have it as my name.
Except at an acceptable length with Jeff and Ian.
Yeah.
Jeff and Ian's acceptable length.
Mainly because it just wouldn't be accurate.
Right. Man.
Well,
this goes on forever. That's what that should be called.
You know how that happened. So the other day I was talking to one of my buddies, and he goes, "You know what?" He says, "I can't." He goes, "I love chiclets, but I have a hard time listening to 3 hours of chiclets." And he goes, "But I like you guys. You're an acceptable length." I'm like,
See?
Cam Miller, you're getting your shout out right now. I'm like, well, we appreciate that.
I love that. I wish I would have knew about that when I was 19.
Oh, yes. There we go. Boom. To all the people I disappointed.
Hey, we got to talk about, before you go, we got to talk about your
look
podcast.
who's wrapping it up.
Yeah, no, because hey, some of us got to go out and ruin youth hockey in America this afternoon. He's got to go stand in front of pucks in 15 minutes. But you got your own podcast.
I got nothing. I like that. I got nothing.
You got orange slices.
I got to write my joke.
Did we give you any content today?
No. He's going to use that acceptable length thing somewhere in a show in the next week. I promise you.
taking this story to the Comedy Store tonight. Let them know about you two.
I didn't think I can ask this question, but so the chirp, I was looking through who you had on, and it's very impressive group. You've taken a little hiatus right now, but one name that stuck out to me, and I think this person's brilliant. You just interviewed, was one of your last one, was Paul Maurice, who was in Winnipeg for years and now is in Florida. Getting back on track here, see if we can get it to the house. Talk about, I think he's one of the most in-depth and deep thinking people I've ever been around. And I've only been around him a little bit because of Flats and when they were coming to town, played Vegas in the playoffs. But he is a super interesting guy and an unbelievable coach. So maybe talk about your podcast a little bit, and maybe if you want to talk about Paul a little bit, how special a coach and person he is.
So the Chirp is, it's every week. It's through NHL Productions, and we'll get fired up in a couple of weeks. We got the NHL Player Tour coming through, so we're going to do Sid, Kachuk, Jack. It's going to be awesome. We're going to hit off with a bang on that, because one of Sid's most embarrassing moments I was directly involved in and sort of caused. So watch for that, because we've never talked about it before. But Paul Maurice is amazing. He approaches it in a different fashion than any other coach that I've known outside of Scotty Bowman would talk like off the top of his head and go forever. You talk about the power play with Scotty and then end up talking about fishing. Like it's crazy. But Paul is just, he adjusts the glasses and he gives you thoughts. He's not afraid to jab you and give you the odd shot. And he's just, I love him. He's still somewhat of a player's mentality, but he can be hard on you. First time I ever met Paul, well, not the first time, but he had a bad haircut when he coached in Hartford. And on the highlights, I said, Paul, they played Toronto that night. I said, Paul, I made the guys put it in there. We're going to find the guy that did that to you, Paul, and we're going to make him pay. And he saw it, and he sent a message back to me the next day saying, F you, Millard. We didn't even know each other. And then he coaches the Toronto Marlies, and my wife is running the business side of the Toronto Marlies, and she's got to work with Paul, and they source that out, and it's all fine. And then he's coach of Toronto, and I and the Maple Leafs in Winnipeg, and get to really know him. He's the best buddy with Pete DeBoer. I love the guy. He's awesome. I could spend all day with Paul Maurice.
Awesome.
Are you tied with Pete DeBoer?
Yes. Yeah. Little known fact, Pete and I we have the same aunts and uncles, but on opposite sides. So we're not cousins, but we're on opposite sides. So that's what we discovered. His parents hang out with my aunt and uncle.
You should find a different way of saying that, because I had no idea what was going on. We have aunts and uncles, but on other sides.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have uncles?
Okay,
Sorry.
Family tree. That's good. That's good family tree stuff. I'll put that with the Kessel.
23 and me.
Write that down.
Might want to look that one up there, Millard.
That is great.
Yeah, I do know Pete very well.
I enjoy Pete a lot. He's got a great sense of humor. He makes me laugh a lot.
He scares me though a little bit.
Does he?
Yeah.
I love teasing him.
Yeah, coaches scare me.
Really? Because you feel like you might have to.
Yeah, this is a principal's office thing. Yeah.
I like it. Well, you're doing very well for yourself. I'm sure your parents.
Can I put this on my reel?
Well, no, I wouldn't put it on your reel.
I'm sure after that was just said, hey, daily affirmation with Lord Bag.
You want me to finish this?
Darren,
you guys just want to chirp me? And I had no idea I was going to be the one taken down today. Usually I'm in charge on this damn podcast, but
my goal is to take this so far from where it's supposed to be that it never gets back on track.
You've done well.
I think I've succeeded.
Well. Yeah, as I said, you've done very well for yourself. What you've done is you've taken.
I do got to get to the office though, and Sharples is going to influence America.
And I
minor hockey. Well, America, I like that. That's a little bit more broad.
Yeah, you're influencing a generation.
I am going to go get tires put on my wife's car before I get on a plane to Vancouver. So I'm doing better than both of you. So
Winter
there you
tires?
go. What's that?
Winter tires?
No, we live in Long Beach.
Well,
winter tires. Yeah, no, like ones with treads on them, because right now they don't have treads on them.
It's got 12,000 miles on it. Time for some new tires.
I know.
Put some
Pirelli.
chains on those things and see what people say to you.
What I do is I coat them with a dilly bar with nuts on it from the old Dairy Queen, and then I drive around and give it a lot of grip.
Only between May and October, because it closes down in October.
Reverse winter, like my aunts and uncles. Thank you for dropping by and saying hi to us. Congratulations on everything. It sounds like everything is just fantastic, unlike Jeff and I. No, it's awesome. I love that you're able to have hockey in your life, which is every Canadian kid's dream.
Every day. That's all I do. I'm going to the
Just
office right now to be part of a little activity, and that's what I do. And then I'm doing a radio show later on today, and it's great.
That's right. We got to get you a shout out. This is your first day back talking about the Golden Knights. You guys are all back today, right?
We're excited. We're excited about that. So that's all I do. Every day is hockey. My kids couldn't be happier.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Millard. See you, bud.
See you, Sharples. See you, Lord Bag.
Whatever.
Well, that was awesome. He was great. He seems really nice, Jeff. Your friends are always very nice.
Well, you know what's funny is he's got the podcast called The Chirp, and he just loves to chirp. He's a great guy. We talked about it earlier, but what he does on TV is it's, I wouldn't say it's magical, because I don't want to give him that much of a compliment, but it's really important. It's really impressive. Magical. And he's magical. He'll tell you he's magical in the net, but he's one of the best, and he will get sought out by these major networks as time goes on, I believe. Question is how's things in Vegas? I mean, he's settled in here. It's not like this is new to him and his wife. She was part of the Leafs organization for a long time. They're used to the industry. So we're just lucky to have him in Vegas, and he's a lot of fun.
He was great. Yeah. And I look forward to coming out and going and see him, and maybe hanging out with him. That would be nice. I got some press in NHL.com this week. You sent it to me. You said, "Hey, look who got some press."
You got some press, and you know what the best part was is I knew you probably already knew it, because
I didn't
really
know.
That's a first. You're hearing it here first, because usually anything online, Ian is so far in front of me on that stuff, and any
That's
kind
turning
of
into a 14-year-old girl. He's picking up on the online.
That's right. Well, it's funny because Scott Darling, one of our recent guests and one of the good guys out there, did a big article on NHL.com. Look it up, Scott Darling, and Ian gets mentioned in there. I didn't know if you knew this or not, but you're touring with Scott.
I know. When I seen that, I was like, huh. I guess somebody's told me that they're going to be doing a couple more shows with me. I like it.
I like how he brought you up, but then the people that inspire him and like
not me.
Your name wasn't there.
It was just like I don't inspire him. I just give him stage time.
Yeah, he's cool, and
he's a great guy.
He's got a lot of. I mean, what you see is what you get, and so. Anyways, NHL.com, go check it out. There's an article on Scott Darling. It was from the 8th or 9th of September, I believe. Just last week, right?
So it was good.
So go look it up, and Ian gets some press in there, and there's no such thing as they say as bad press. So good.
That's right. Any press is good press. Speaking of that, we got an email this week. Did you want to hear it?
Sure.
So speaking of your yacht rock, we want to tell you that thank Jeff for us. The yacht rock tip is awesome. We love it. That comes from Marlene Apalzer up in Prince George, British Columbia, letting Jeff know that she listens to this for music, not for hockey information.
Like there's only 500 channels or whatever, maybe more on Sirius XM, and they have Yacht Rock on. So they usually start on a long weekend in May, and then they cut it at the end of the Labor Day weekend last weekend or whenever it was. but it's so popular that it's now on channel 311, I think, or 314. So check it out. And
But it shouldn't be
you
on
can judge me
311.
all you
311 is
want.
the band. 311 should have 311.
Yeah, well, you know what? They took it
Sorry,
off
I didn't
channel
mean to confuse you.
14.
Okay. All right. You know what?
So
You know what's great is the way the camera's hitting you. It makes it look like it's very windy in your room. Your hair keeps going back. It's like that.
well, there it
Oh,
is.
you're
I'm trying not to
completely
move.
bald.
I'm trying not to move too much. I'm like, but you know, it's a good way to look and just go, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah. We're just like,
It's not going to get any better. I mean,
and
there's
you
a
got
few
you got you
imperfections.
got you got your white shirt underneath your black shirt, so it looks like you got a cover and you're about to get your hair cut.
Oh God, that's awesome. Yeah, I never even noticed that. So I got to Portland last night, and I'm in the city of roses. So we decided to we'll go out and grab a quick bite. And so I was like, it's nice here, but I'm soft. So I got to have my white shirt that I wear underneath my shirt. And I'm going to put my t-shirt on that I wear every week. And I'm going to go out because I don't want to wear long sleeves. And it was beautiful here in Portland. And talking about, I don't know if we talked about this earlier, about smoke. All this, everyone's getting smoked out.
Yeah.
And that. We had some smoke around here yesterday, but today I'm looking out the window and there's no smoke. So
that's good. Fire's out. No smoke. All right. Well, we got to make sure that we keep this at an acceptable length. So we better wrap it up. An acceptable
because we're
length with
kind of
Stephanie.
bored today, so we'll just keep talking.
Yeah, like I'm lonely. You lonely? Any shout?
Yeah, I do. We have a shout out, and I gotta hit the screen. Make sure. There we go. We got a shout out this week to someone who made a huge impact on so many people's life in the United Kingdom, around the world, in the Commonwealth. Queen Elizabeth II, huge shout out. And because I got thinking about her, and when they said the other day that she became queen when Winston Churchill was a prime minister of England, I was like, that's a heck of a shift. You know, it's tough enough to get someone to work 7 hours in a day, never mind go 7 decades straight. So a big shout out to the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, for a job well done. And it's not what you take, it's what you leave. And all she left was everything she had. So shout out to her this week. And what a remarkable lady, and what an inspiration.
That's awesome. That's a good shout out. I don't know if I can top that one. So I don't know if I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to everybody collecting the money that she's on, thinking it's going to become a collector's item. So that's it from here.
Yeah. I guess that is it. We really can't talk about much else after the Queen, but
by the way, can I mention something about the Queen? I don't know if you've watched anything on TV. I play a game now called Queen's Funeral or Land Rover commercial, because they have like 8 Land Rovers flying behind her. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, they don't, you know what? They have no shortage of specialty vehicles, the royal family, I've noticed. Like, if you watch any part of it, and they're all black, right? And so, but they're all specialty cars and like top of the line stuff. And there's some Rollses, right? And some Benzes. Like, I mean, they do it up right. I imagine they've got quite the garage out back of Buckingham Palace to work on.
I'm sure they do okay. I'm sure they got a fellow that's over 100 years old working on those cars and has never been outside before. Well, it's time to wrap it up. The dog's going nuts here, so my parents are saying time to wrap it up. So, love to all.
Love to all.